My name is Chris Queen and I am with Advantage Relocation, talking to you today about Electrolux Goodwill Replacement Program. Before we get to the instruction videos, I wanted to take a little time to discuss some of the vital steps needed in order to have a perfect deinstall and install of the appliance. Keep in mind that while this customer is getting a new appliance, the appliance you are replacing is fairly new, in most cases less than a year old. That being said, these customers may not be the happiest customers you'll ever face, but keep up your smile, do a good job, and everything should go smooth each and every time. First, in the packet you receive, there are some general guidelines we have included to help you in a step-by-step process for both the deinstall and the install. These are not the how-to instructions, but rather reminder tips that you, the installer, will need to follow to ensure a perfect job. Attached inside each new appliance, Electrolux has included not only the detailed how-to instructions in a booklet with the owner's manual, but also a one-page, which is usually about an 8.5 by 14-inch piece of paper with the basic how-to instructions. Both should be referenced anytime during the install should you have any questions or are uncertain about the particular model you are replacing. Second is the warranty card. Electrolux has asked us to have the customer fill this out, and we are to bring back an image along with our other paperwork with the delivery. If the customer is unwilling or would rather wait until later to do this, just inform them that it's part of our process and helps to ensure their new appliance is under warranty and that you are happy to fill it out for them and send it off. Most of the time the customer will be happy to go ahead and take care of this. Third, and most importantly, the serial tag disposition form. All Goodwill replacement jobs will have one of these forms attached. You must, without any doubt, no questions whatsoever, remove the old serial tag carefully from the old appliance and attach it to this document. Without this document, no one from STI down to you, the installer, will or can get paid. It's as simple as that. Please be careful removing the serial tag using either a blow dryer or simply scraping off carefully with a razor blade will usually do the trick. As you get ready to watch these videos, we have included some professional videos supplied by Electrolux, as well as some others done by myself, and a lot of help from Electrolux trainer Chip Mulligan, who not only trained us at their office in Augusta, Georgia, but was kind enough to train us down in Orlando, Florida as well, where we had over 25 participants. Also, you may recognize Ian from STI, Jim Gelstrap, and a few others. Our hope is that you will get the gist of the process and possibly a few laughs as well. We appreciate your time and efforts in making Electrolux Goodwill Replacement become a very successful account for everyone. Thank you.
Notice we lift up on the we lifted up on it and then pulled it back, right?
Right.
And then unplug it.
So yeah, unplug it. Now you can just get it completely out of the line.
Now we're gonna.
You notice the cord hookup for that is exactly like it is for the other one.
Pull out the
All right,
OTR microwave.
Right. So now we got this microwave, right? So we can unplug it. Now the power is disconnected. You have no power issues at this point. Okay. Now if you get this step stool. Thank you, sir. All right. What you're going to do is we know when we take the screws out, the front's going to want to tilt down some. So what I normally do is take out one side. If you're right-handed, I take the left screw out first. That way I can hold it here and work my right hand.
Let me see those screws up there. Oh, there you go.
Where's the anti-tip? What's this?
Yeah, stuff
That's it, yeah, for that one, yeah.
So the slide-in's got a different anti-tip.
Hey, Chris, point where the other screw is. There you go, right there.
Now typically, will you have one guy or two guys on a truck?
Two.
All right,
We'll always have
always have two. So the one guy can be unscrewing the screws. When you get to the other one, you can maneuver the ladder in a way where the other guy can stand underneath it and hold it so and nothing's going to happen, right? Yeah, like I said, they're pretty long.
Sit this back down.
Feel that? All I'm going to do now is move the ladder out of the way a little bit.
Okay, look at this guy. Yeah, you might be able to reach it at that point without even using the ladder.
Now we got the top bolts. Got the top bolts all the way out, right?
Now, if you film it with 3 guys, if you send 2 guys out, they're gonna be like, hey man, you said 3.
Yeah.
So make sure it looks like 2
I'm
guys.
hiding Brad over there.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna step over this way.
Where are you going with it, Tara? This table?
So that's what you're gonna do. Here's the thing. When you tilt it down, the bracket's gonna be like a fulcrum point, right? So when you tilt it down, you have to lift the back up off the flange and then it comes right off there. And remember you have your cord that's gonna be coming with you too. So tilt it down. Now lift the back, lift it up from the back, okay? All right, bring it, that's it. I cleared a spot right in this table behind the camera. Good. So far so good? Everyone got it? All right. Perfect. Take it right over to the table. Excellent. It wasn't so bad. No, pretty well.
Makes you surprised at how light it is.
All right. So here's the fan we're talking about, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to remove these screws from the top, 3 in the top, 3 in the back. 1, 2, 3.
And power drill's okay on these?
Well,
They're small.
let me just put it this way. Power drills have different settings. Some you can set to drill through metal. Some they have a clutch that slips. If you want to unscrew something using a lower speed, that'll be fine. To put them back in and to finish them off by hand.
On low torque
Because you
setting.
will strip them out big time. Like those big screws right there, if it were me. Number one is, you see that cabinet? It's only about what, 12 inches tall? So if you had a screw gun and an extension, it won't even fit in there.
Yeah.
But if you're lucky enough to find one that fits in there, I would run it almost 7/8 of the way down. And right before I got it, I'd stop it. I run the other one, and then I'd finish it off by hand. When you finish something off by hand, you get it tight, snug, and you give it another half a turn, and you're done. Other than that, you're going to strip out the metal. So that's a good question.
All right, so you got 3 screws on the back, 3 on the top.
3 on the top.
Sorry.
All right. So what we've done is we've removed the bracket from the top. All you do is you pull the fan out, turn it. If it's going to exhaust up, slide her back in. Now she'll exhaust out, right? You can pull it up, turn it over. Now she'll exhaust out the back.
Yeah. And show us, it came
Yeah, out
this
the
way.
front. Yeah,
It came this way.
it did. It did. It came out the front.
Gotcha,
It's like so,
gotcha.
right? But you get it in there and you get it good and square. Simply put the bracket back on. You'll see there's 2 little lips here that fit in these little holes. Slide it in place where the holes match up.
Piece of cake.
Go. Some guys are quicker than others, you know. I'm sure once you get out there and you train your guys how to do it, you guys all seem to be very knowledgeable. I mean, I'd say it'd be no problem. 20 minutes,
Super easy.
maximum,
Yeah.
start to finish. You see the bottom.
See the ridge there. Point to it there, Chris.
All right, that's right. So exactly, that's what I was going to point to. There are the slots that you're going to sit on the lips of the microwave. Have your little tabs right here.
Tabs
Okay.
right there, right?
You have the slots in the back of the microwave.
Exactly.
You're bringing the microwave over and the bottom's perfectly level with the floor. What you're going to do is tilt the microwave front at you just slightly, which will bring the back of it up. You're going to sit it on the bracket, then you're going to bring the front up, and you're going to move it back and forth, and you'll feel it fall in place. Once it falls in place, you continue to push the microwave all the way up, and then drop the screws through it. So this is where all the air is going to be filtered through, right? These tabs, you just grab the tab, pull it up, and it slides right out. Real easy. These are also an accessory. So these can be sold to a customer at a later date. These are also dishwasher safe.
They don't come with those?
They do.
Okay.
You'll get 2, but you know, after a while, you may want to, if you don't take real good care of them, or something happens to them, or whatever, and you want to buy new ones, they're available.
They're recording me?
Yeah, what?
I heard something snap or something like it.
Yeah, it falls into the
So you
two
guys
grooves.
filled it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, we're gonna, they can feel the little.
I think you really have to double check
That's
though,
a
you
little
know.
trick you learn.
So then we program it, we actually put the time on it and everything.
I would.
It's a nice touch for the consumer.
What time is it?
Here, it's
225.
Yep.
Put the controls back in it. And good to go.
All right.
And
Got some bacon?
there's an install and a deinstall.
In this video, we will discuss the installation of the anti-tip bracket kit. The kit comes with your range and should include the items shown. When installing, the floor or wall method can be used. In this demonstration, we will show the wall method. In either method, the right or left rear leg of the range will need to slide into the bracket. In this demonstration, we will use the left rear leg. Be sure to keep 11/16 of an inch away from the bracket. This is where the side of the range will be. Be certain of where to mount the bracket before you begin drilling. Drill the 2 screws at a 20-degree angle into the wall. It is recommended to drill pilot holes prior to drilling the screws in. When the bracket is secure, slide the range back into place. Make sure the leg is snug inside the bracket. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a 3-wire connection for an electric range. Check your outlet first to make sure it looks like the one shown. You will need a 50 amp 3-prong cord. Remove the rear access cover by taking out the center screw. Install the strain relief that came with the cord. Only finger tighten the nut at this time. Take the end of a 50 amp 3-prong cord and thread it through the entry hole. Remove the 3 screws from each terminal on the terminal block. Attach the center ring-tongued wire to the center silver-colored terminal, which is neutral, and the remaining 2 outer ring-tongued wires to the outer brass-colored terminals, which are L1 and L2. Reinstall the screws. Tighten the strain relief. Reinstall the access cover. Plug the cord into the outlet. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a 4-wire connection for an electric range. Check your outlet first to make sure it looks like the one shown. You will need a 50 amp 4-prong cord. Remove the rear access cover by taking out the center screw. Install the strain relief that came with the cord. Only finger tighten the nut at this time. Remove the ground screw and the 3 terminal screws and set them aside for now. Take a pair of needle nose pliers and pull the ground strap up over the middle terminal. This is very important. For your safety, do not overlook this step. Take the end of a 50 amp 4-prong cord and thread it through the entry hole. The black and red ring-tongued wires connect to the 2 outside terminals, which are L1 and L2. The green ring-tongued wire goes where the ground strap used to be. This is ground. The white ring-tongued wire goes in the middle terminal through the ground strap, which is neutral. Tighten the strain relief and reinstall the access cover. Plug the cord into the outlet. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to reverse the doors on a Frigidaire top mount refrigerator. First, remove the kick plate, then start from the top and head down. Remove the plastic cap and then the 2 screws underneath. Lift the hinge off. Remove the freezer door by lifting up. Set the freezer door aside. Take a putty knife and remove the plastic tabs on the opposite end. Put these tabs in the holes of the screws that were just removed. Remove the pin on the middle hinge. The refrigerator door will then lift out. Set the door aside for now. Next, take a screwdriver and remove the left screw. As for the two on the right, only take them out halfway. The hinge will come out along with the spacer. Reinsert the left screw and tighten the other two. On the opposite end, take the two left screws out halfway and remove the right one all the way. Keep the spacer underneath the hinge and slide them both into the left two screws. Reinsert the right screw and tighten all three down. Remove the bottom hinge by taking out the two screws. Insert the two screws that were just removed into the hinge on the opposite end. Remove the pin and washer on the bottom hinge to the opposite opening on the same hinge. Tighten down securely. Now that the hinges are ready, the doors and handles need some adjustments done as well. Remove the two bottom screws on the handle. Take a putty knife and remove the cover tab on the top of the handle, and remove the screw found underneath. The handle will then come off. On the bottom of the freezer door is a door stop held in by two screws. Remove the screws and the stop, and reinsert it on the opposite end. There is a small plastic tab on the opposite side of the handle. Use a putty knife to remove it. Do not try to force it out. Use needle nose pliers if necessary. Place this tab on the opposite side where one of the handle screws were previously removed. On top of the door, remove the plastic insert and place it on the opposite end. The freezer door is nearly done. Onto the refrigerator door. Remove the handle by taking out the two screws on the top. Take a putty knife and remove the cover tab on the bottom of the handle, and remove the screw found underneath. The handle will then come off. Remove the plastic insert at the top of the door. A putty knife may be needed, and place it in the hole at the opposite end. After placing the insert, take the putty knife and remove the two small tabs near the insert. Once again, don't force them out. Use needle nose pliers if needed. Place the tabs at the opposite end. On the opposite side of the door, opposed to where the handle was, there is a small tab. Use the same steps to remove it like the others we've seen so far. Place the tab in the hole on the opposite side of the door, where one of the handle screws were located. On the bottom of the refrigerator door is a door stop held in by two screws. Remove the screws and the stop, and reinsert it on the opposite end. Now take the refrigerator door and slide it onto the bottom hinge pin. Swing it closed. Reinsert the pin into the middle hinge. Take the freezer door and slide it onto the middle hinge pin and swing it closed. Make sure the spacing is even on the bottom of the freezer door to the top of the refrigerator door. Place the top hinge on the opposite end, insert the two screws and replace the cover. Now for this model, the handles need to be switched around. Take the refrigerator handle and attach it to the freezer. Insert the three screws and cover tab. Take the freezer handle and attach it to the refrigerator. Insert the three screws and cover tab. Reinstall the kick plate to complete the reversal. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to install an ice maker into a Frigidaire top mount refrigerator. If the refrigerator has already been delivered and installed, be sure to unplug the unit. First, remove any shelving that might be inside your freezer. In the upper left-hand corner of the freezer wall, remove the harness cover. Next, remove the three plastic plugs by using a putty knife. Do not force them out. Use needle nose pliers if necessary. On the back of the unit, at the upper right-hand corner, there is a sticker which covers the hole where the inlet tube will be placed. If the unit has an exterior condenser, it may be necessary to loosen the brackets on the right-hand side. Then the condenser can be pulled back a bit for better access. Use a small kitchen knife to cut on the dashed lines. Remove cut sections or fold them in and then remove the foam inside. Keep the foam as it might be needed to assist in the leveling of the ice maker. Get 3 parts from your ice maker kit: the tube seal, the inlet tube, and the water supply tubing. Push the tube seal over the threads on the inlet tube. Then push the plastic water supply tubing into the water inlet tube. Finger tighten the compression nut, but do not over-tighten. Insert the inlet tube through the hole until the tube seal is tight against the back of the refrigerator. Install the adjustable leveling bracket onto the bottom of the ice maker with the leveling bracket screw provided in the kit. Do not tighten the bracket yet. Install the ice maker mounting screws into the freezer wall where the two tiny plugs were. Turn each screw clockwise 5 turns. Take the ice maker and plug the harness into the connector on the back of the wall. When mounting the ice maker, make sure the inlet tube is set inside the fill cup. Slide the fill cup up underneath the inlet tube and slide the ice maker down onto the 2 screws. Tighten down the 2 screws holding the ice maker. Make sure the ice maker unit is level. If needed, use the saved insulation foam from where the inlet tube seal was and position the ice maker. Now tighten your ice maker leveling bracket. Remove the rear access cover on the back of the refrigerator by taking these 4 screws out. Pull up on the cover to remove it. Pull out on the wiring for the water valve. Push plastic water supply tubing into the bottom of the water valve as far as it will go. Finger tighten the compression nut. Connect wiring harness. Locate factory drilled holes. You may need to tap the holes prior to installing the screws. Reinstall the access cover. Secure plastic water tubing to rear of cabinet with 2 plastic clamps. Reinstall the shelving and place the bin underneath the ice maker. After hooking up the water, place the ice maker in the on position. For future reference, it will be on the ice maker module cover. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to install the water supply to any Frigidaire refrigerator with either a flexible braided 1/4 inch compression ended water supply line or copper line. For the flexible braided 1/4 inch compression ended water supply line, take one end and install it into the water supply. To tighten, turn it 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Do not over tighten. On the refrigerator, remove the cap on the water valve. Take the other end of the supply line and install it onto the water valve. To tighten it, turn it 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Do not over tighten. Turn on the water supply and check for leaks. Slide the refrigerator back into place. Be sure the line does not get kinked. For installing a copper line, place a nut and ferrule on the end of the line and install it into the water supply. To tighten, turn it 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Do not over tighten. On the refrigerator, remove the cap on the water valve. Remove the strain relief to allow easier access to the valve and place it on the water line. Take the other nut and ferrule and place them on the other end of the water line and install it onto the water valve. To tighten it, turn it 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Do not over tighten. Reinstall the strain relief, securing the water line in place. Turn on the water and check for leaks. Slide the refrigerator back into place. Be sure the line does not get kinked. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please consult your user's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to remove the doors on a Frigidaire side-by-side refrigerator. If the unit has already been installed, unhook the water and electrical. Open the doors and remove the kick plate. At the bottom of the freezer door, disconnect the water supply. This can be done by using an open-ended wrench to press down on the blue ferrule. On the top of the refrigerator door, the hinge needs to be removed. Some models come with a screw holding the cover in place. Remove this first. Then push forward and up to remove the cover. Remove the 2 screws holding the hinge in. Remove the hinge. Lift up and pull away to remove the refrigerator door. For the freezer door, follow the same steps to remove the cover. Unplug the harness. Remove the 2 screws holding the hinge in, but leave this hinge on. Lift up and pull away to remove the freezer door. Be careful with the water line sliding through the bottom hinge. When reconnecting the water line, make sure the water line is pressed all the way back into the water unit. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please consult your user's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation and setup of the front load, affinity, and next level washers. After removing the shipping carton, tilt the washer back a little bit and remove the shipping plug and the base. Save both parts if the washer is to be moved at a later date. Open the door and pull out the drain hose, the owner's guide, and the inlet hoses, along with a sample of detergent. On the back of the unit, remove the 4 yellow shipping bolts and spacers. Take the 4 plugs provided in the literature pack and install them in the vacated holes left by the shipping bolts. Install the drain hose onto the drain coupler at the upper left-hand corner of the washer back panel. Using pliers, squeeze the ears of the spring clamp and position the clamp at the end of the drain hose. Remove the inlet hoses from the packaging and install the rubber washers that were also included into each inlet hose. Carefully connect the inlet hose marked hot to the left outlet of the water valve. Tighten by hand, then tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the other inlet hose into the right outlet of the water valve. Do not cross thread or over tighten these connections. Then hook up your hot water inlet hose to the matching hot water faucet by hand, and tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the cold inlet and faucet. For the drain hose, the standpipe should be at least 24 inches high, but no more than 96 inches. Place the U-shaped end into the standpipe and secure it with a cable tie provided with the drain hose. Here are other acceptable examples for installing the drain hose. Plug in the cord. Do not under any circumstance bypass the grounding prong. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the setup and installation of the front load Alliance washer. After removing the shipping carton and base, remove the 3 yellow bolts and spacers from the back of the unit. On the front of the washer, remove the 2 screws on the bottom panel and pull the panel out. Remove the large styrofoam block located under the drum by tilting the base of the block inward and then pulling it out. Remove the 4 nuts that secure the 2 shipping braces to the drum and base. Replace the panel after the shipping braces have been removed. Keep the shipping braces, nuts, and washers for reinstallation just in case the washer needs to be moved again. Remove the inlet hoses from the packaging and install the rubber washers that were also included into each inlet hose. Carefully connect the inlet hose marked hot to the left outlet of the water valve. Tighten by hand, then tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the other inlet hose into the right outlet of the water valve. Do not cross thread or over tighten these connections. Then hook up your hot water inlet hose to the matching hot water faucet by hand, and tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the cold inlet and faucet. For the drain hose, the standpipe should be at least 24 inches high, but no more than 96 inches. Form a U shape on the end of the drain hose and place the formed end into the standpipe and secure it with a cable tie provided with the packaging. Here are other acceptable examples for installing the drain hose. Plug the cord in. Do not under any circumstance bypass the grounding prong. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to stack an Alliance dryer on top of an Alliance washer. To remove the top, take out the 4 screws at the rear of the unit. Push forward on the top and lift up to remove. Remove the 2 brackets from the rear of the top panel. Using the 4 screws just removed, install the rear brackets as shown. Remove the 2 screws holding in each front bracket. Install the 2 front brackets provided in the kit with the 4 screws that were just removed. Take some of the shipping supports and lay them down. Carefully lay the dryer on its back. Remove the 4 leveling legs. Insert a flat blade screwdriver in the slots between the front panel and base. Pry downward to remove the hole plugs. Using 2 or more people, place the dryer on top of the washer. Slide it back into the rear brackets, then drop the front down behind the front brackets. Insert the 2 long screws provided in the kit through the holes in the dryer front panel. Install the hole plugs that were removed earlier. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss how to stack a washer and dryer from the Next Level and Affinity product lines. Once you have obtained a stack kit, there should be instructions. Also included are these parts. On the back of the washer, install 2 rear brackets with 4 of the screws provided in the stack kit. The large front spacer will be placed at the front of the washer. After the backing of the tape has been peeled off, line up the rear edge of each slot in the spacer with the seam between the top panel and console. With 2 or more people, lift the dryer onto the washer. Slide the rear legs into the rear brackets and lower the front legs onto the front spacer. Install the other 2 screws provided in the kit through the spacer and into the dryer. For venting, water, and electrical hookup, please view the installation videos on those topics. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a Frigidaire top-load washer. After pulling the washer from its shipping carton, take a few of the corner posts and place them on the ground. Then carefully lay the washer down. Remove the 3/8" bolt that is securing the shipping brace. With channel lock pliers, remove the plastic spacer block from the center of the base. Keep both of these parts if the washer is to be transported at a later date. With the washer back at its upright position, open the lid. Remove the foam tub blocking and remove the inlet hoses and enclosure package from the tub. Move the washer near its stationary position and make sure the floor is level. The rear legs self-adjust by simply pulling the washer forward and gently setting the washer back down. Use channel lock pliers to adjust the front legs as necessary. No rocking of the washer should exist. Place a level on the top of the washer, front to back and side to side. Remove the inlet hoses from the packaging and install the rubber washers that were also included into each inlet hose. Carefully connect the inlet hose marked hot to the bottom outlet of the water valve. Tighten by hand and then tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the other inlet hose into the top outlet of the water valve. Do not cross thread or over tighten these connections. Then hook up your hot water inlet hose to the matching hot water faucet by hand, and tighten another 2/3 of a turn with channel lock pliers. Do the same with the cold inlet and faucet. For the drain hose, the stand pipe should be at least 33 inches high, but no more than 96 inches. Form a U shape on the end of the drain hose and place the formed end into the stand pipe and secure it with a cable tie provided with the packaging. Here are other acceptable examples for installing the drain hose. Plug in the cord. Do not, under any circumstance, bypass the grounding prong. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the door reversal for Affinity dryers. Open the door and remove the 2 screws holding the hinge in. Lift up and out on the door to remove it. On the opposite end, there will be 3 plastic tabs. Remove them all with a putty knife. Do not force them out. Use needle nose pliers if necessary. Insert them on the side where the door previously was. The hinge on the door needs to be switched. To do that, first remove these 5 screws. Lift up on the outer casing. On the side without the hinge, remove these 2 screws. Remove the 2 screws holding the hinge in. Remove the door strike. Remove the hinge. Install the hinge on the opposite side. Tighten it down securely. Install the spacer where the hinge previously was. Tighten it down securely. Attach the outer casing with the rest of the door. Reinstall the 5 screws. Take the door and slide it into the opposite side of the dryer opening. Tighten down the screw securely to finish this reversal. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a 3-wire connection for an electric dryer. Check your outlet first to make sure it looks like the one shown. You will need a 30 amp 3-prong cord. Remove the excess cover from the upper left-hand corner of the dryer. Install a UL approved strain relief into the entry hole. Only finger tighten the nut at this time. Now remove the 3 screws on each terminal. Do not lose these screws or use any other generic screws in their place. If you happen to lose a screw at any time, remove the rear access panel to find it. Take the end of a 30 amp 3-prong cord and thread it through the entry hole. Attach the center ring tongued wire to the center silver colored terminal, which is neutral. Attach the remaining 2 ring tongued wires to the outer brass colored terminals, which are L1 and L2. If your wires move, like this, they need more tightening. Tighten both screws down on the strain relief. When reattaching the access cover, be sure that the strain relief does not stick out. Plug the cord into the outlet. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a 4-wire connection for an electric dryer. Check your outlet first to make sure it looks like the one shown. You will need a 30 amp 4-prong cord. Remove the access cover on the upper left-hand corner of the back of the dryer. Install a UL approved strain relief into the entry hole. Only finger tighten the nut at this time. Now remove the 3 screws on each terminal. Do not lose these screws or use any other generic screws in their place. If you happen to lose a screw at any time, remove the rear access panel to find it. Take the end of a 30 amp 4-prong cord and thread it through the entry hole. Tighten both screws down on the strain relief. Remove the green screw, which is securing the white neutral wire to the cabinet. Attach the white ring tongued wire and the other white ring tongued wire, which was just removed from the ground, to the middle silver colored terminal, which is neutral. Attach the green ring tongued wire to the cabinet with the green screw, which is ground. Attach the black and red ring tongued wires to the 2 outside brass colored terminals, which are L1 and L2. When reattaching the access cover, be sure that the strain relief does not stick out. Plug the cord into the outlet. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the venting for a dryer. First, you need to discover where your dryer exhausts outdoors. Check your installation instructions to see the charts on what the maximum length is to get the best production out of your dryer. Do not use plastic flexible duct. It is a fire hazard. Instead, use rigid or flexible metal duct. Shown here are other examples of poor venting. These images are also inside your installation instructions. Now we will show the proper way to install a vent on a standard dryer, a dryer on top of a pedestal, and a dryer stacked on top of a front-load washer. In this demonstration, we will use two 90-degree elbows. After inserting one end into the dryer and the other into the duct leading outside, tighten down the screw clamps to prevent the ductwork from falling off. Now if the dryer is on a pedestal, you will need a little bit of rigid or flexible metal duct. Take one elbow and place it into the outside duct. Take the other elbow and place it on the dryer duct. Measure the distance in between the two elbows. Measure out that distance on a piece of rigid or flexible metal duct. Mark the spots to cut and then cut using tin snips. Fold the tabs inward to make a circular vent and use aluminum foil tape to make sure it stays together. Connect the rigid duct with the other two elbows and then connect the vent with the dryer and outside duct. Tighten down the screw clamps as you go. Stacking is very similar to the pedestal, except you will need a longer portion of rigid or flexible metal duct. If stacking the unit in an enclosed area such as a closet, measure the vent to match the dryer exit vent, so when sliding it back it will slide together. Tape the ductwork to the washer to prevent it from moving when it is slid back. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details. In this video, we will discuss the installation of a side vent. Due to the vast amount of situations that are possible, we will only show you how to install the side vent kit seen here. Take a putty knife and line up with the edge of the door to the top panel and pry open the clip. Lift open the lid. Remove the two screws on the inside of the front panel. Pull out the front panel and be sure to disconnect the door and light switches before setting it aside. On the rear bottom of the dryer there is an access panel. Remove the two screws that secure it and slide the panel out. Remove the belt by pulling the idler arm so there is no tension on the belt, and remove the belt from the motor pulley. Remove the drum by lifting up and pulling it out of the rear bearing. Set that and the belt aside. Remove the screws securing the exhaust tube. Pull the tube out and remove the black seal. Install the black seal on the side vent and install it onto the blower housing. Install the screw that was removed earlier into the side vent and the base of the dryer. From here you can knock out the side plate or bottom plate and run some rigid exhaust pipe from the side vent kit and out of the dryer. There is a difference between the electric and gas dryers. The electric can side vent either to the right or to the left. In the gas, you can only go to the right. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please refer to the owner's guide and installation instructions for any further details.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this dishwasher out and we're going to reinstall the new dishwasher. We got to deal with water, power, and electric. So the first thing we can do is we can turn off the water. The water you're going to be able to find underneath the sink.
Okay. What's our time? Can you?
It's 3:38.
All right.
Okay, now while you're under there, where's that white drain tube coming from the dishwasher at? Do you see it?
Yes.
All right, well, we might as well take it off too. Now that has a hose clamp on it that's normally 5/16. It could be 1/4 inch. You let me know. Here's the 5/16 right here. Is it 5/16 or is it 1/4 inch?
Nope, that's it.
5/16. I got it.
Hey, now Terrell, is there a loop up at the top?
Yeah, it's going to make a little leak. So what I'm going to do here real quick, that's excellent. You know what, I'm glad you said that.
So Terrell, what'd you just do there?
I just took the drain hose off.
And you collected the excess water in a cup, right?
Yeah, I was, but there's none in it.
Now here's the thing at this point. Now you're holding it up that height. Take your cup and sit it on the floor. Now run that down there. Anything coming out? Okay, that's one way to.
Yeah,
There you go.
few drips.
Yeah, that dishwasher ain't been running for a while, so a lot of that.
You're right.
Probably evaporate.
But this is a good practice,
Yeah.
that you guys can get all the water out, because if you tilt it, like you put a hand truck on it and you truck it from the front, any water that's in the sump is gonna leak out the corner and you drag it all the way through the customer's home.
We're working on the county road project, man.
Yeah.
Just stand around and think about it for a while.
Yeah. let's
So,
stand
Ian,
there.
where were those
Come
two
back
screws?
tomorrow.
Do this.
What's that?
One screw on one end, one on the other, is that, two screws, right?
So we can
Yes,
take
sir.
the
Two
face
screws
plate
right
off.
there.
Two
There's
screws.
2 plates. And hand me those plates for a second, I'll show you a little something. See this, and you have that other plate too, sir.
Nice.
Now, we know that the cabinets are supposed to be a standard, was it 32 or 36 inches high, whatever. But the thing is, you have the leveling legs because sometimes you've got to bring the cabinet up or you've got to bring it down. If you notice, you can see about a ½ inch gap on the top of that unit. Whenever you install a unit, always have that ½ inch gap. There's a fan in the back that draws air into the unit, and that's what pushes the steam out during the dry. If you push it up against the cabinet, it won't draw air. So that could be an issue also. So depending on how high...
So it's not wedged up against the cabinet.
Right, and when we pull that out, I'm going to show what I'm talking about.
Right.
Well, it'll come out the front. I'll show you all that in a minute. But the thing is this. So if we have to raise this dishwasher up, we don't want to have a gap underneath here. Looking at the feet, that's ugly. So we make this one adjustable.
Right.
So this one can come down and always sit on the floor no matter what our application is. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to hold the water valve with this one so you can unscrew this one. Other than that, you can unscrew the whole mechanism, and then you got, water is always up to the valve. If you crack that valve, the only way to turn that water off is at the street. Got me? So you hold the big part with that one,
Okay,
and then you'll
Terrell.
turn the other one with the little one.
And what are you doing, Terrell?
Taking the water line off.
Out of the way.
So, at this point, and it's kind of easy, so what we're going to do is open the door, and then there's 2 screws that run in through the top of the cabinet. See them?
Right here.
What are they, Phillips head?
Yep.
All right, my friend's going to hand you a Phillips head screwdriver.
You know, on dishwashers, did the wiring used to be right in the front?
Yeah, the wiring is in the front, but the thing is,
Yeah, it
this
does
one
smell.
is
Yeah.
a plug-in unit. It's plugged in behind the unit. So you can actually pull it out and unplug it because you're selling them a new cord. Or you can take the junction box off, undo it, pull it out, and then plug it off, put a new cord on either. You're just cutting out one step. And that'll be a little easier to understand when we pull this out of
Do
here.
we need to crank the legs up?
Legs, yep.
It might pull right out because you got the ½ inch gap.
But Chip, you may have to, if it's snug, you may have to
Sure.
loosen legs,
Well,
right?
you don't want it snug.
No, because
Yeah, I know.
then it won't stick.
But if the previous installer did it snug, in order to get it out, you may have to loosen the legs
You
up.
may have to.
Okay.
I've actually run into situations that you won't run into, but they have a floor like this, and they'll come and put like Mexican tile above it. Now it's that far up.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to do that. So here's the thing on this. Let me show you this real quick. Sorry. Here's the thing on this. This is the fan. So during the dry cycle, air is sucked into this fan, pushed into the cabinet. It pushes air throughout the front. Actually, what it does is it forces it through this plastic piece of ductwork. The plastic piece of ductwork is cold. Hot air hits it and it condensates inside of it. The water runs back in the unit and the dry air exits the unit. That's how that works. So if you crank this too high and you put something over top of this, it's not going to draw air. So you always want that ½ inch gap to have air to be able to move around the unit. So far so good? Box. And have it tilted up here so you guys can see get a better view of it. If it is a plug-in and you do put this kit on, you can do all this on the lift gate of your truck. So when you pull the other one out, you stick this other one, you put all the hose in, you plug it in, you slide it back in, you're ready to rock. All right, so no matter where you decide to do it, it would be faster and better for you. This is the application you're going to apply. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this screw. All right, that opens up the junction box. What do we see there? There you have these fittings. See, you'll see how marred up this thing is? It's because somebody's using pliers and it's slipping and slipping and slipping. If you have a hex fitting on it, use an open end wrench. That's what I would do. All right, so let's take this one off, and you'll see how it's easy. Keep this in mind. This could be sitting on the floor, so you don't have a whole bunch of turn time. If you can put this on its back, or on the tailgate, or whatever, the lift gate, you have all the room in the world here to turn a wrench.
Hey,
So-
and basically what we're doing, Chip, is preparing this unit to be reinstalled again just because for demo purposes. All
Right, so
good.
we're gonna tear everything off of it and then put it all back. All right, now what we gotta do is we gotta take this little jewel off. Who's got a pair of gloves and who's feeling anxious? Okay, would you mind using those
Step to the
gloves?
side there, sir.
In your back pocket.
We're like us, yeah. I can at least say, hey, he had gloves in his back pocket. He doesn't have a cut on his butt, but his hands are. Well, we can see, and that's really all I want. So. All right. And the thing about this is, when you put those 90s on and you get them tight, you got to be conscious of where your water line is.
Oh, yes, there you go. All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get this.
Hey, Chip, show, which side does the tape go on? Tape? When
The
it's-
tape is going to go on the larger side that fits in the water valve,
And that's brass to brass, right?
brass to brass. Now, when you put this tape on,
Yeah, I'm like-
you notice you're turning
right
it
here.
this way, right? So you want to run the tape this way too. So when you turn it, you're actually pushing the tape down on it. If you ran the tape this way, it would probably still work, but you're peeling it off of there, right? So we want to run the tape this way, right?
Run the tape the same way the threads are run, so, right?
Yep. So we can find the lines here.
Now, was the tape in the kit or no?
I bought it separately. I don't know if it's in our kit or not.
I don't think,
No.
yeah, I think that's.
But these are all these are tools that you're gonna need on your trucks, right? So let me see, let me think, put this a little bit this way. So what I normally do, and I put it down and I hold it with my thumb because it'll slide off there real good. And what I do is I run it around 4 or 5 times. Right?
You pull it real tight,
Taut, not tight, because if you pull it too tight, guess what happens?
tick.
Breaks right off of there. Now it's dressed properly, all right? Now what you can do is you just put it right in this little fitting right here, you get it started, and away she goes. Now what I want to do is I'm going to get this hand tight, pretty close to hand tight. Quite honestly, at that point, you're probably not going to have a leak. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another turn or two, and then I'm going to be conscious of where my water line's coming. My water line's coming from the left, so I want to make sure this thing is pointed to the right. You can crank on these things. They're pretty tough. I've never broke one ever. Will the ferrule break inside? Maybe because of cheap material. Back in the day, years and years ago, when we do our hookup for our refrigerator, the nut on the ferrule would crack, and they come to find out it was just cheap material. There's a lot of imperfections in it, and it would crack open. It wasn't anything we made. It's just a certain brand that I'll leave unnamed. All right, so whoever's up, you notice this has a fitting, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to turn it. Now, yeah, righty tight.
Now give me a little, there you go, there you go. All right, go ahead.
So it's kind of snug
Oh, that
already,
thing's
right?
working.
Slide that on there, good, beautiful.
Oh, it's telling me the
Let's
tape's
give it a
about it,
turn.
I guess.
Yep.
Got 9 minutes, yeah.
All right.
That'd be hard.
So that, all right, so that is facing that way. That looks pretty good. Is that water line gonna run into anything? Maybe not, maybe we can get it right there. Is it?
I mean, I can point it this way too, right? Just
Yeah.
whatever is convenient.
Just so don't back it up. Keep going forward. Yes. Once you've run it down that far and you back it up, potential leaks. But it shouldn't be, it shouldn't go all that back. Kind of rough, huh? Look at how easy that is. Come on, you make it look easy over there. You go ahead and grab it from the top. There you go. Loosen up, there you go. Turn it. Good question. See these things right here? All right. We know the dishwasher is going to hook up to that. What are these for? The other end. because we don't know what size water supply you're gonna have, right? You could have this size or this size, so you just screw that on there as an adapter, or this size, so you screw that on as an adapter. Just like the drain hose had reducers on it, it's the exact same theory, right? Yep.
And Jim, do you use Teflon tape on those connections?
No, because these are compression and they have the rubber grommet in them.
Okay.
They're already sealed like a washing machine hose. That's just metal on metal, bare metal on bare metal. Is that hole right there?
Ian's gonna show us how to attach his cord, but he's gonna have to, excuse me.
You're fine.
They'll pull a couple feet.
We got the dishwasher on the back, right?
All right, because all you're
On
gonna
its
do
back,
is put
and
this
we're gonna
clamp
put
on here. Give it about that much, and then just tighten it down. Tighten our clamp down for strain relief. They make many different kinds and many different brands. This is the one we happen to have on hand. When you get a cord, it should come with it. I don't know if our strain relief comes with it or not. All right?
That keeps the tension off the cord and off the electrical box, right?
Right. So what you want to do at this point is go ahead and loosen up that ground screw. We may end up having to bend that over a little bit better.
What's there?
Hook up that ground screw. I see it's sort of bending this way, isn't it? Let me get you a 5/16. Who had that 5/16? Alright. A little bit.
Okay, and that was easily done.
Alright. Got enough there?
So you attach it, look, we'll get up here.
Basically wrapping the naked wire.
Around the ground screw?
Yep. And then I'm gonna tighten that again.
Just get it snug. Just enough to where it won't pop back out of there. All right?
Okay, you got the ground on?
Yep.
First, you did the ground first, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All
And
right,
I'm taking the black
black
and
on black there with a wire nut. This particular cord has two black wires, all right? No, this one had the,
This one, yeah.
Should I twist it and then?
Yeah, that's fine. Just a little twist, just so you know they won't come apart. But when you put them in this nut, they will twist it also. Some people just hold it together. I think that's a better idea. And that's gonna get to a point where it's snug too. You'll feel where it's snug, don't go any further, because you can actually strip it off in there too, and then you gotta start all over again.
Nothing over here.
All right?
So 13.
That's a wire.
always just let the wire nut twist them together. Just hold them up like that.
You can.
Do a couple.
Sometimes on these real fine wires, our ground came off. I don't want them to see that. That's okay. But sometimes on these real fine wires, it's better to twist them. Is between the washer that's underneath the ground screw and the ground screw head. Our wire nuts are on firmly. We have our clamp in there.
Just shot that ground.
Ground is on good and snug.
Okay,
Wire nuts are good and snug.
Right.
We have our strain relief.
that's a good deal.
Okay? All right, then you go down with pressure on
All
that.
right, we're just gonna put the junction box back on. So Ian's tightening it. There you go. That covers up all the wires we just connected with the wire nuts and the ground.
Perfect.
All right. We have what? Sorry, just kidding.
So we have our water line, hand tightened, another half a turn to a turn. We got our braided line, let's go to our 90, hand tightened, another turn to a turn and a half. Now we're ready to go. Right? Our power cord has been hooked up properly with a strain relief, and we have our drain hose that actually comes on the unit. At this point, we're ready to break the feet loose and install the unit. Now, if you were careful enough to measure the floor to the top of the unit, you can also measure the floor to the top of the door and make sure you have a 1/2 inch clearance above the door. Is everybody good with that? All right.
And the dishwasher water line is always going to be the same length?
Well, in a standard, whatever the kit is that we sell. And if you want to turn that off for a second, we can measure it.
Hi.
All right. So the hose is put on. We've made sure it's tightened down properly. We've measured the cabinet. We've measured the unit. We know how far to pull the feet out. We know the cord is put on properly. Now it's simply a time to put it in front of the hole, hook everything back up, slide it in place. Before we attach the screws and install it permanently, we're going to make sure we don't have any leaks or any kind of issues with the installation of the unit. One other thing I'll tell you here. Sorry. Right here is the door adjustment. Sometimes they have the cable, sometimes it's just the spring. If it's just the spring, you'll notice these holes right here on the side. If you have the cable, there's 2 holes here in the back and the back here. If you open the door and the door falls down too quickly, you need to tighten the tension of the spring. So you simply just change the position of the holes, right? If you put the door down and it keeps wanting to pop back up, there's too much tension on it. So you can change the tension on the doors also by changing the position of the holes.
Is there a tensioner on the other side too?
There's one on each side.
And you get them on the same hole?
That's right, that's right. Now if you ever have a cable that's squeaking, you can actually rub bar soap on here. Nothing else but bar soap, like Ivory soap. You rub it on that cable and it goes away and stays away forever. True story. All right?
Get it down?
This insulation blanket is meant to stay on the unit. This is not packing. This is a sound blanket. It also helps with the heat. So we want to keep these blankets on the unit. You do not remove the
That's a
blanket.
little cutout right there for.
These blankets are actually, this is like a cutout for the drain hose for when it came in. So when it popped through here, at one time they had a loop that was attached to the side of this unit, but they've done away with that loop. They want you to loop it underneath the cabinet. But when this unit's packed, they could have this come up, loop down here, and they just have this in here for packing purposes. So it's in the box nice and tight. All right. All right, is everybody good with that? Nice and easy? I got it.
Yep, remember that turbidity sensor.
Right here, so right up on the feet, just like so.
It's easy to forget.
Now what I normally do is make sure I drag everything out of the back of the unit. Yeah, there's a lot of water right here. I don't know where that came from.
What's the floor coverings?
All right, well, listen. There's water in here. That's it. Put this over here. Okay. Now, you'll see all the cords, the drain, everything's right out of the back of the unit. So it's just a matter of sliding it through the holes and hooking it back up, right? I would probably plug it in last. Sorry. Unless the water line is too short, and then you have no choice.
Running
You
the
got
drain.
enough room?
And how do they loop that up underneath the counter there? That drain hose is laying on the ground. It's gonna back up.
They're gonna pull it through.
They're gonna hook from the inside where the water turn off and on. That's what they're gonna.
Now, is there enough room for you to hook the power up at this point, or do you need to back out of there a little bit? Hang on just a second. Can you get that? Can you reach in that?
He's got it, but he can't pull it
No,
all the way
your
through.
power hooks up behind here. There you go. So now it's just a matter of hooking your water back up and hooking your drain back up.
Was there a clamp for the drain?
Yes, right above the,
Yeah, but we need to get the clamp for the high loop. But they're gonna have to take this back out and put that strain relief and put a clamp for the high loop. I'm gonna make sure James is aware of that.
hey, Chip,
Yeah.
Ian, on the left, that foam is sticking out. Looks like
Yeah, this isn't installed yet. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna pull this back out a little bit once they get it hooked up.
There you go.
They're gonna stuff it back in there, they're gonna stick it in there, they're gonna level it, and then they're gonna reattach the screws.
You get that crescent wrench?
It should,
Connections and.
All right, he's securing the water supply.
High
Not only that, that's a great idea, to see if it had a high loop, had all that's a great idea. But if you run into somebody's home.
We put the hose back here
That's
and
first thing
clamped
on
it.
our checklist is
Yeah.
And then also
any
the water line from there,
pre-existing
hooked it up to the hot water line back there.
Do we have the clamp for the drain hose?
Good deal.
No, no, we don't have a high loop clamp, unfortunately.
All right.
So once this is hooked up, you run this up as high as you can, and then you put your clamp on right there.
You're doing what? Turning the water on. Okay.
Now,
No.
remember you turned off all those,
I'm turning them all back
right?
on.
And when you turn them on, open them all the way back up. Some guys just crack them on, and sometimes you get leaks under there. When you back it all the way up, it seats it.
And Ian, test the water out of there.
Hot water. Cold water.
Water.
All right, now.
No leaks.
Yeah, at that point, that's what I do, is I actually take my hand or a paper towel and I rub underneath them and make sure there's absolutely no leaks, and that's what I show the customer.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything.
All right, cool. All right, so
So do we pull?
cabinet if you'd like, and put it in place, and then we'll run it. Try to use those holes that were in there, can you see them?
Push it in a little bit more. Is it in? Where you at? Right there?
Chip, I'm gonna ask you again, how long to deinstall and reinstall a dishwasher?
Everything goes right, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Especially two guys, I mean, goodness gracious. Now, so,
Do you put a level on this any?
no, but what I do is this. I look to see if it's square along the top. I look to make sure they got the same gap on each side, and I look to make sure you got the same distance on each side, top to bottom. That squares it up to the cabinet. Oops, sorry.
So now we can run the test.
Right.
What about the legs?
They were already screwed
All
on,
right.
so level. So look, so as we look at this dishwasher, we see this gap is perfect. We see this gap is perfect. We see that they're equal. So when somebody comes in, aesthetically, right away, the first message they see is it's square. So it's gotta be right.
And you've got the gap on the top.
And you got the gap on the top.
What about, this looks a little wider here than it does down there.
If it does, then what you can do, that's right. Well, what I do is I just go ahead and grab it up like this and then drop that leg. So go ahead and take that leg down a little bit.
Not your leg, Ian, his leg.
Well, if that one came off the ground, you'll need.
Okay, so we gonna test it out, hit normal and then
When you hit
start.
start,
Yep, and
just
see
something
that,
light up.
and see that CL?
CL is flashing.
I need to close the door. You know, I have, yeah, I mean,
Should have that up top.
but I have a clear panel for the front of that, so you can actually see peeling and stuff in there, spraying around.
So we're, all right.
Delivery team should be putting their hands underneath here, right?
Well, what I do is I get that and look, listen and feel. That's
With
the three
a
things you do,
flashlight,
right?
what was that statement about the
Yeah,
flashlight?
With a flashlight.
Well, if it's dark, flashlights sometimes are
That's what I thought, okay.
recommended. But you'll see your water hookup is right in the front on the left-hand side. Is it leaking?
Oh, that's what Ian did, I better check that.
You would know it, right? Is it leaking?
Nope.
No, sounds good, looks good.
All right, well, water is running in the unit. If it's not leaking, you did a great job. It's not tripping breakers,
But I
so the
can't
power
see,
cord's good.
I can't see the turbidity sensor.
Well, you can see
All
on the
right.
floor.
Yeah, that's right. You can see the surface of the floor underneath the unit. Is there any water hitting it? It is. Look how square it is, look how aesthetically beautiful it is, look how perfect it is along the top. You guys did a very good job.
I think it looks better now than it did when
I
we
agree
got here.
100%. We have to film to prove it.
So is it leaking? It's running. Is it leaking? You're getting a flashlight light. Let's see, there you go.
All right.
How's that sensor doing, Ian?
Looks good.
If it was leaking, you would know it at this point.
All right,
Now-
Started washing that.
That's it. It's
Now-
spraying water around. We'll check the drain here in a second. Now, remember it said get it to fill, spray around, and then check the drain. So at this point, I would say to the customer, look, I have no leaks. Why don't you take a look at it? Because when you sign my invoice, that means are satisfied with the installation. You'll look underneath here, let's see no leaks. You're good to go. Open the door. Hit cancel. Close the door. There you go. Flusher's going to drain. That's it. Check your drain hose as it relates to the connection to the
You gotta hold it up.
standpipe.
See in the pipe will be
Here, run it down the
clamped
sink.
underneath the sink.
So it's not leaking around that clamp, right? Nah, they don't. They're tight. And then, of course, the one from the factory's already been tested, but I would double check that real quick. Up or down, it'll lay on the floor, right? Can you got that okay?
So,
1/4-inch nut driver, my friend. Do you have it handy? Yes, ma'am.
was this designed for you to have to open the door to operate it? So that's how it was supposed to be designed? Okay.
I want to thank everybody for coming out on Saturday. Hope you got enough to eat. Whatever's left, feel free to take it with you. One of the things about appliances, there's not a network that services the whole country. And Home Express, STI can do that. And it's going to start with us. And the reason why a lot of people are afraid to get into it, because of some of the things that we've heard here today, liability issues. What if the house floods? What if I scratch the floor? All kinds of things. And you got to remember, if you treat it like a soft-boiled egg and do the job right, like Chip said, it's super easy, you shouldn't have any issues. How many people here deliver for Home Express now? On the delivery ticket where it says the customer call an 800 number for the phone POD, how many people here actually let the customer call it in versus you doing it? Okay. Here's what you want to do on these appliances. We've scripted this. You want the customer to call. You want the customer to call from their phone. And they can do it while you're taking the trash out, cleaning up your truck, putting in your GPS, your next stop. Because there's going to be 2 important questions on there. Was there any damage done to your residence? And then the most important one, I feel, was there a test cycle run and were there any leaks? And if they press no, 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 we're off the hook. If it didn't leak, like Chip says, if it didn't leak when you left, it's not going to leak at any time. But if that house leaks and they find out that you called it in, then you're not going to have a leg to stand on. So we want to get that and make sure that let the customer call it in, let them answer those questions, you'll be off the hook. Now the other thing is moving these appliances. Stairs, wood floors, white carpet, everybody has a way to do it. The man Robert and his helper are going to come up and demonstrate what we call a shoulder strap. How many of y'all use the shoulder strap to move appliances? We just want to let them come up here right now and demonstrate how a shoulder strap works. For you who have not used it, you might want to consider having your guys trained to do this because it makes it so simple, whether it's a washer, dryer, range, refrigerator, going upstairs, or just going across the floor. Once you dial it to the front of the door, and you put this shoulder strap on, you can, 1, there's no weight on you. 2, you can maneuver that thing through the door, down to the kitchen, through the counterway, and everything else. So, we're going to show that, and then we brought one of these for each agent that's here today to take back with you and share with your drivers. Cuts down on injury, but absolutely. But if we use the right tools and we do the steps that we're supposed to, on all those checklists, the very first thing it says is do a visual inspection of the customer's home before you do anything. And if you see something, don't just, well, I see that, in case she says something. No, say something to her. So you know you got this long scratch going across your kitchen floor now. I want to note that. Note it on the paperwork. Cover your butt.
All right, so once you place your straps
on you. With this piece you can adjust it. And if you got a lot of leftover, I'll like hook it around you because you might trip with it. And if it's in a fridge, just tilt it towards the back a little bit. Place this part underneath, whatever the piece might be, and then just go down, adjust it, lift it.
Show us in slow motion there.
And by being able to adjust that strap, it doesn't matter that Robert's a little bit taller than his other helper, because you're going to strap it to your height.
Go back again. There you go.
Hey, Robert, the key is you bend down and take the slack out, and then you go up.
You have this on, and you just bring it in like nothing.
Hey, Chris, I think the key, like I just said, the key is bending your knees, taking the slack out, and then lifting up.
You want to bend your knees, get that strap tight, so when you just straighten your legs like that, that appliance is going to come right
Yeah, that's the way you level it. And if, let's say if you got a fridge like this, if you want to remove the doors and do a butterfly, if you got room to walk like in a C angle into the house, you just open one door first, walk into the house, make sure you do this all the way around. He opens his door, and then the whole fridge gets inside the house.
So you don't have that way. That way you don't have to remove the door.
Back in the old days,
This is how you
some
level
of you guys used to put a pad across the threshold and slide it and bend it and everything else. With this, you're floating it on the cloud.
You two-wheel it up to the front door, and then use that.
And it's pretty convenient if you have like one of these heavy front-loaded washers going to the second floor, and you got like upstairs in one tight turn, the hand tug is not going to work. So you use this guy, bring it up. Myself, every time I have hardwood floors or good carpet, strap.
So when you do the washing machine, do you raise it up until it's above your knees so when you're walking up the steps?
Like this.
Get that too?
He's kind of got this in, he's got the, yeah, that's in the way right there. Kind of move that out of the way. All right, there you go. There you go. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. You can play with it. You go upstairs, you can close, or you out, any way you want. I'm already on the stairs. On the stairs, once you get there, one end is going to be lower than the other one. And of course, the tallest guy is going to be at the bottom. You can see the shorter one. So we can play with it. If you're going up, you're going to play with the straps. And if you get to a point, with it like this, just put it. Basically, that's what it is. Under 50 pounds, 100 pounds, you get to the point that you got to make a quick turn, that's a big one to do. How many deliveries have you made like that? Huh? How many deliveries have you made with that? With this, every house that has hardwood floor. How much damage? How many times have you damaged the product?
How many times have you ever damaged anything using this?
None.
So it's zero.
Zero damage. I mean, if you got a hardwood floor, if you bring that hand, there's chances that you're going to leave a mark because of the weight of the piece is only going on two wheels.
And you talk about a customer who's going to be impressed.
Oh yeah. They always tell you, oh, I never seen that. What is this?
Hey.
Where you got that? Oh, NASA.
And another.
You know, some people like the shows, like HGTV, they got this.
Hey, another key too, guys, is floor protection. Even if you're carrying something, you got your shoes on and that kind of stuff. Of course, you don't want to be carrying something with your sock feet. They make these booties that you can put on that's got rubber on the bottom of them. Plus, when you go into the kitchen, set the unit down, you've got to be setting it down on cardboard or some kind of floor protection. And when you're taking the cardboard off this unit, that's your floor protection right there. The refrigerator sides. I went with the guy the other day that he had cut the refrigerator side boxes in 4 sides. That's 4 floor protections. He just lined his way back in there, with that, and set it down in and slide it back into place. Sliding it back into place. There's wheels on there, but those wheels will eat into a hardwood floor. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, some of these guys work between 400 and 500 pounds. Just figure yourself being in this piece to the second floor. You will need this.
Like I said, I got one for each agent. I got them on Amazon.com. They're $40. It's an investment.
Northern Tools, Down Lake, Pazovity, they got it for $40 too. Northern Equipment.
You don't have a problem with that buckle scratching it, right?
No, because that piece is never gonna get to close down.
Your hands keep it away.
Plus the leftover of the strap, you flip around it, and that's it. Never gonna have any problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it, man.
Florida's our test market for this, for 30 days. If we do good, we're going to open up more states, more states, more states. If we do great, this is just this much of Electrolux business. And they have so much more that they want to give us, that if we do this right, it's just going to keep coming, keep coming.
Yeah. Good point. This is just the normal warranty work, not the extended warranty work, right? I mean, that's...
There's extended
How much more extended
there's
warranty is?
Home Depot Direct, there's B2B, there's retail, there's a ton of it. So everybody in this room is responsible for whether that goes to the next level or not. Chip, you got anything else?
No, I just talk about what Jim said. He's right, this is just our Goodwill replacements. The number of units that we replace because of damage or non-repairable is minute. It may be a huge number, but in the grand scheme of things, it's practically nothing. But every unit we sell has to be delivered, right? That number is humongous. Like you said, Home Depot Group, many other factions, builders, contractors, things of that nature. So the delivery market is humongous. You're just tapped into a small part of it, but the mother load is right below the surface. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity.
Okay, last time, give it up for Chip.